Hello, friends, and welcome to Shelf Help, a podcast powered by the friends at Settle. As most folks know, at Settle, we're all about empowering the people behind the consumer brands that shape our world. And this show is an extension of that mission. Here, we're going to dive deep into the real stuff, the stories, the mess. We love the mess. And the mental health strategies that founders are using to grow fearlessly. Everyone, please welcome Ashley Nickelsen to the show from B.T.R Nation, a brand that I actually love and adore. She is the founder and chief snack officer at B.T.R Nation. And also, for those that don't know, B.T.R is a double entendre, correct? For bold, tenacious, and resilient, but also for better nation. So love a double entendre. So it's such a cute name.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yes.
much. And thank
And
you for having
yeah,
me. I'm so excited. I can't wait to dive in.
yes. For folks that don't know Ashley, she has a very deeply personal mission and story. After losing both of her parents to very rare forms of cancer, she saw firsthand how broken our food system was, especially in places where they theoretically should be healthy, right? Hospitals. And it really drove her into creating what she did today. She has a background in the supplement space, e-com, but most importantly, biochemistry. So she knows what she's putting in these bars. This is a space she's very comfortable with, but I'm sure still learning so much about as the days go by. But yeah, now she's creating these bars that are just they're full of real ingredients. They taste really good, which that balance I'm sure is always so tricky in figuring that out. I'm sure you're in R&D,
All the
just
time.
going through different iterations of things, trying to make things better based off of customer feedback. But that was my intro. Welcome to the show, Ashley. Thank you so much for being here. And if you guys can't already tell, we totally coordinated with the crunchy hats and the headphones here. I personally love a good wired headphone.
Me too.
It doesn't fail me. Like my AirPods fail me. This never fails me. But welcome, Ashley. So good to have you here. And I
I
just wanted to
love
give
it.
you space to introduce yourself if I missed anything.
You did it. You hit the nail on the head. It's we love Settle and we're huge fans. So
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful you know our story so well and you got it. So BTR is
Yeah.
so personal to me and we're on this mission to help fix our broken food system one snack at a time.
I
So
love it.
not easy,
Yes.
but we are here persevering.
100%. I have a great story for you from this weekend. I was at Foxtrot this weekend, which you guys are in Foxtrot,
We are,
and I
yes.
was helping my friend do a demo. And she was basically there demoing her tea. And this woman, I'm like, hey, do you want some tea? She comes up and she's like, I'm actually looking for a protein bar. And I was like, well, I have one for you. And so
I
I
love
took
it.
her to BDR, told her your brand story, and she instantly bought like a few.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
So that was like an amazing highlight. And like so many of our customers are at Foxtrot. So
Yes.
like I know those shelves like very well. But
Yes.
yeah. Yeah. So I was like, I feel like that's like a great way
That is
to
a
start
fun
this.
story.
I know.
That's the best moments when you see people actually pick up your product and they don't may not know the brand or
Right.
they don't necessarily always know the brand story. Like it's so cool when people are like, "Oh, I know you. I already eat BTR. This is great. I'll grab some."
Yeah.
But it's a whole other experience to see people who like pick it up and they look at it and they like flip it over and they look at the ingredients and they nod and then they're like, "Okay." And it's like that's the moment of conversion where you know
Yeah.
that like especially as someone who is very familiar with e-commerce and that's my background in bread and butter, it's one thing to convert a customer online and it's another thing to convert a customer in store
So true.
without telling the story or sharing what the brand
Yeah.
attributes are. So when people just like pull it off the shelf,
And they look
it's
back. Yeah.
it's that
Yeah.
feeling like we're in airports nationwide and I always like
Yes.
stop people as they're like walking around airport shelves and I'm just like always curious at what they're looking for. And I see this consistently where people will pick BTR up and then I'll go up and be like, "Oh my goodness, so what made you choose this? I'm the founder." And they're like, "Please stop bothering me. It is 4:30 in the morning. I'm trying to just like eat." It's always a morning flight too, where I try to like bother people. And usually they're
That's
like,
so
the flavor
funny.
looks really good. I'm looking for something like the same things over and over again. I'm looking for something with
Totally.
real ingredients, but also that has low sugar. And those two like don't coexist together. They should, but it's so impossible. And that's when you mentioned like R&D and innovation. You have to consistently iterate, especially like bars seem so easy to make, but you got to get the taste, you got to get the texture, you got to get the macros, you got to get the attributes, you got to get the ingredients. It's all, there's so much that people demand in the bar
Yeah,
set that people might not demand in another categories. But
absolutely.
it's fun. It's a roller coaster every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I failed to mention is Ashley is also a mom. And correct me if I'm wrong, but BTR Nation was your first baby,
Yes.
right? And then you had this baby. And so one of the things that popped into my head when I was looking at other podcasts that you've done was the Costco show that the rotation that you had done. You had to go to
Yes.
the Southeast and
Yes.
basically be away from your little one for a month. Now, don't
Yes.
get me wrong. I usually celebrate when I can get a little space from my toddler for a few days, where I'm like, oh my God, but, a month is a long time. And I know you were
Long
probably
time.
doing some back and forth, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Walk me through your headspace there. Like, what was going on? I'm sure you were probably doing FaceTimes all the time. And, like, what was going on with you then? Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So 100%, it is the balance is challenging. And I never hide that because it is being a mom and making sure that like your child is knows that you're there, and especially when they like don't understand and like, mommy's got to go to Costco, and she's like, yay, toy. Like that's usually what the response is now.
Right.
Like I
Yeah.
travel
That's
at this
so
point
funny.
almost once a week, and it
Yeah.
is so I don't say it's so difficult because I love traveling and I love being there with my
Right.
with our customers. And now as she gets older, she's understanding more and more, and also she like cares a little less. She's like, okay, bye, bring back a toy. Like that's pretty much like every single time. I have bought so many toys from the Whole Foods like natural toy section. I'm like, oh my goodness. And
That's
she
so
loves it.
funny.
So every single
Yeah.
week, whenever I'm traveling somewhere. But I think, the best thing I have done for myself this year, I think, as we grow and scale, we're scaling super quickly and we're opening more doors. We're also scaling our e-commerce and our Amazon super quickly. So it's like every channel is scaling very fast. We're launching into more airports. We're building a team. We're building this team culture. The thing I knew that I needed to do was actually get a business coach slash therapist. So it's one of the
Love
best
that.
investments
Oh
that
my
I made for
gosh.
myself. And in the beginning, I was like, do I really need this? And then like my first session, I was like, yes, this is wonderful. It
I
just
love
helps keep
that.
me accountable for my own mental health and
Yes.
what I need to do to consistently show up for my team. And that has been like a game changer for me, where it's
Yeah.
working on removing mom guilt. So at this point, I don't really
Right.
feel the mom guilt in the same way. I definitely do, because like my husband is my daughter's primary caretaker, and
Yes.
he will send videos and I'm like, oh, I miss that moment.
Yeah.
But
Of
then
course.
I come home and she does it again. And I'm like, okay, it's, this is just life. This is where we're
Yeah.
at. But then now the new thing is she like gets out her little baby laptop and she sits right next to me and she's like, Maddie worky, mama worky, Maddie worky. And it's like, I'm trying to role model and show her what it's like to fight for something you believe in and for something that is bigger than us. And she gets it. She like, whenever we go to the store and she sees our bars and she's like, mama's bars. And it's like, it's just such a cool moment because we're building something that's just bigger than us. So even though we have to make sacrifices and I sometimes have to just be like, okay, I'm going to put my ego aside. This is what we have to do right now, and it's temporary, and this is the moment to do it. So but it's hard. I have to, fight the internal voice all the time.
Oh my gosh. And such a beautiful moment because I just think honestly, based on listening to your podcast, that was the support your dad gave you.
Yes.
And so like, he had his way of saying BTR, BTR, and this is
Yes.
your way of showing your daughter that, and that lives
Yes.
on. Like
Exactly.
we talk a lot about like generational trauma, but not
Yes.
generational gifts. And
I
that's
love that.
absolutely something that your dad passed down to you. You're now passing down to your daughter. It just gives me
Exactly.
chills. I love that.
Exactly.
Now, I want to dive in a little more into the therapy, hiring the therapist. First of all, I love that.
Yes.
One of the most
Highly recommend. 10,
right, I
11 out
know.
of 10.
No, totally, right? And one of the things like I think like it sometimes like takes a while to see I guess it depends on where you are, but like the fruits of that labor, which it's a
Yes.
lot of emotional labor, right?
A lot of
Stepping
work.
in, a lot of work. But can you think of a time where like you really like went through a situation where you were like, wow, the way I handled this in my professional life right now, pre-therapy versus post-therapy, like I can feel that big difference. And like what kind of like is there like a situation you have in mind where you were like, wow, like I handled that with, just a different level of like mindfulness or whatever it is for you?
Yes. So I guess the best example is So prior to starting B.T.R Nation, I worked at a startup. So I come from the supplement space and I worked there for 4 years, grew that company from zero to about 10 million before I was as a team of three. So this was before I left to begin the work on B.T.R Nation. And I think when I was at that company, I was part of the founding team and I was very defensive of my work. And I think like sometimes when you do things, like it's so close to your heart, you put your blood, sweat, and tears into it. And I would not necessarily always be the best at taking feedback from our founder at the time who had her own vision. And I also had a vision. And I was like, this company is basically like, it's my baby. I do everything for it. I was basically like general manager. And it was a little challenging. And then when I started B.T.R Nation, it was me. So it was me calling all the shots, right? I was wearing the marketing hat, wearing the sales hat, and I still wear all of the hats, but I also now manage people who are in discrete roles. So that was the prompt to go to therapy because I knew that as soon as I brought in a team, people would want to do things differently. And I need to hire people who know more about these areas of specialty than me. And that was the whole goal, but it might like take a little bit of an ego hit. So I knew that going to therapy and working through it and being able to manage and be like, here's why I did it this way, but I want to try this, right? And like just different tools in my toolbox to be able to take a step back and let other people drive is exactly the goal. Because at the end of the day, my background is e-commerce. It's something that is my love. Like I love Instagram. I love creating content. I love building our content calendar. That's not something that I'm never going to like hand over to an agency to do, but I want to build a team that loves it as much as me internally, and we can do it together.
I love
But then there's
that.
also lots of other things that I just have to hand off because my role as a CEO is fundraising. My role is building the vision for this as we scale up. And I'm sure one of your questions might be like, what's one of the most challenging things in the food and beverage industry? And it's in any consumable CPG space. It's having enough capital to scale. When you're scaling and you're on this rocket ship, you need that capital to continuously fuel that growth and while you're innovating and while you're keeping all of your channels happy. So that ends up being the main role of the CEO, and I'm excited for it. So it's just making sure that you have the right team around you, and that's where therapy has been really good to focus, where I can say like, okay, bye to that task, bye to that responsibility, and hello to this new and exciting part of my role.
I love that. And who better to fundraise and tell your story than you, honestly, right?
Yes, 100%.
So like it's definitely like that relinquishing control. I'm a Virgo, I don't do it
Oh,
well.
I'm a Virgo.
Stop. Okay,
Yes,
see? Yeah, that's what it
twins.
is.
That's
Yeah.
it's Virgo energy. I am a
Totally.
Virgo, I'm a Virgo moon,
Oh yeah.
and I'm a Sagittarius rising. For anyone
There
that's
we go.
astrology listening to
Yes.
this, like Sagittarius rising. So I'm like fire and earth, and like I am like,
Yes.
let's go, let's do this. The passion is there, but then that is a wonderful, like, that's wonderful storytelling
Yeah,
and the ability to do that to the people who are becoming your partners in this
totally.
business to take it to the next level. There's no one better than the founder and CEO to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wanted to kind of switch gears here, and talk a little bit about a reoccurring theme that I heard when in your storytelling when you go on to podcasts, and that is the theme of turning grief into grit.
Yes.
And I think most people have experienced grief at a certain point of their life, loss, and it's one of those things where it's hell when you're going through it, but when you break through, you're like, wow, like I feel like I can take on anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how going through everything that you've gone through, even like it's interesting to see like how you dealt with so much by yourself as like a single child, being a caregiver to your parents, and now also a single founder.
Yeah.
Tell me about like how you're managing that now compared to like how you were potentially managing that like grief. Because I'm sure you started grieving early and at that point, with your
Yeah.
parents, and it's like, wow, like I can't imagine the I guess just like the mental toughness that you must have developed. But of course it's never that simple. Like it takes a lot of pain to
Yeah.
like, develop that grit. And so if you don't mind opening up a little
Sure.
bit about that, and just, how your story inspires your mission, and then also just gives you I mean, CPG is already hard, but doing it as a solo founder is even
Yeah.
harder.
Yeah.
So I'm like just so in awe of you in managing it all
Thank you.
and holding it together, honestly. But I know that mom and dad are with you too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, tell me a little bit more about that.
So it is a driving force, but there's also a lot of pressure. Also, one
Yeah.
thing I'm working on in therapy is there's so much pressure here. Is there's a lot of founders that look up to B.T.R. And even like before we started this podcast, like it's there's a lot of people that are like, well, I see if you can get on Instagram and share your story, I can do it, right? And if you can raise capital and not coming from a VC background, then I can do it. And I love that. And I hope that's an inspiration, but it's also a lot of pressure. And then I have the pressure from my parents, right? Just like
Yeah.
my dad was an entrepreneur at heart. He would have loved this. He would have been in the warehouse
Oh,
right now
yeah.
packing boxes,
Packing.
talking to our
Oh,
UPS driver. Like this was his thing. He always wanted to start a business. He would always talk about like opening up. So we're native New Yorkers. He would always talk
yeah.
about opening up a bagel shop. And
I
in
love
in
that.
Staten Island. I grew up in
Yeah.
Staten Island, if anyone didn't know. But that was what he wanted to do. And he would have loved this. And then my mom was more of the like, we don't come from money, right? Like lower middle class. We, literally it was like paycheck to paycheck. My dad worked 3 jobs. My mom was like, go to medical school, right? So like that was my path. I was biochemistry major. I was pre-med. And then I quickly was like, I'm a people person. Do I want to spend my life doing this? And I pivoted into education, which I have a very interesting background before joining a startup and really finding my love
Right.
in business. But it's my mom was like, go get a stable job, right? So right now she would be like, oh my goodness, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But at the same time, she would also be like, on the sidelines cheering me on because anytime I took something new up, she would always be like the first one there, like clapping
Oh,
and being my number one fan. So I know that they're there and that they're supporting and I feel their presence. I talk to them on a daily basis. But that's definitely a lot of
that's
pressure, but
beautiful.
it
Yeah.
keeps me going, right? It's like I went through hell and back taking care of them and seeing that. And, as an only child and with my mom, my dad was there, but with my dad, no one was there. So, I have a
Yeah.
good extended family, but still like no one is there. And, my now husband, he was there. So we were
Yeah.
dating at the time and he was there every step of the way. But at the same time,
What a
like no
guy.
one's feeling it. So yes,
Awesome.
Adam's
Yeah.
amazing. He's a rock. He works
We
part-time
love
in
you,
business.
Adam. Yeah.
He'll love that. He will love that. A little shout out to him. So I know that they are with me, but
Yeah.
it's that is the fire, right? Like if I can do that, I can do this, right? Like I can lead my company to a place where B.T.R Nation is nationally distributed in 25,000 doors. Like I have no doubt in my mind. And then when my parents got sick, one thing I took up was running. So I've run a couple of marathons. I've run a lot of half marathons. I actually
Awesome.
just yesterday, I decided I'm recommitting to this. And it's
Yes.
just to get like my mental health in a great place, my physical health in an even better place. Like I want it to be there. So just yesterday I did like my most intense workout I've done in like a couple years. So I'm feeling good after that, a little sore, but
Yes.
it's like all of these things build up this grit and it builds up that it's not something that you're born with, right? It's something that you work on and you practice and you go through rejection and you go through highs and lows and wins and losses. And it's just something you need to have the tools in your toolbox for when you're having your best day. You're like, yes, we're celebrating, we're high-fiving. And then when you're having your worst day,
Okay.
what's the solution? How do we put out this fire? What's next? How do we move this to this, right? Like it's always about putting the puzzle together. And I think that taking care of my parents and constantly looking for solutions for them and then, moving into my life, trying
Interesting.
to like
Yeah.
build up my physical fitness and how do we like build our body to be stronger? All of this, it's like a puzzle. So that's how I kind of look at it. It's the Virgo in me. And that is what keeps the ship going. And I hope that answered your question.
No, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
It's the grit.
Absolutely.
Grit is
Yeah.
practice, right? It's like a
Yeah.
habit. It's a habit. And when you're in CPG, you have so many things flying your way. You could be having like 10 highs, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, crap, our inventory is delayed 3 days. And it's like, oh
Right.
goodness, what do I do? How do I move this around? So it's all of these things together just builds you into this stronger person. But you have to
Wow.
take the chances. I think that's the other thing is
Right.
like when I first started the business, I made this whole like bucket list of things for myself to do. And I was like, oh, but I'm so scared. Like I don't know. I was just this like
What were
venturing out
some
on
of
my
those
own.
things, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah. So a lot of them was like applying to certain retailers, right? And
Yeah,
like it's always been my bucket list to like be in Whole Foods, right? And I'm like, oh, but what if we get rejected? And it's like,
right.
and here we are, right? Like on the shelves of Whole Foods and
Yes.
select Whole Foods, right? But
Yeah.
like we're gonna take this
No,
nationwide.
we're
It's like
going
we're
nationwide.
going nationwide.
Yeah.
The people are demanding it. So it's so exciting. It's so great to see. But like
Yes.
all of these things, I think in like year one, you're like, oh, but what if I fail? Like you have to push that aside. You will fail, and that is okay, right?
Yeah.
And you dust yourself off, you get up, you go back and you do it again, right? And then that's how you build grit to be able to be in the place to get all the wins. So, and even when you're having all the wins, you're still going to lose, right? Like
Yeah.
everyone, I don't want to say lose, but like you're still going to have a setback, right? Like
Yeah.
it's, 5 steps forward, 1 step back, right? Like that's the philosophy. But
Yeah.
it's like you got to work on that grit and build it.
No, I love that. Yeah. No, I think that's such great advice for founders that are tuning in. I mean, I've talked to certain founders who like at this point in their lives, we have like as folks in their 30s and 40s, like, this is the time too where, you have kids,
Yeah.
parents are starting to get ill.
Yeah.
What would you tell a founder who's currently going through grief and can't seem to like, pick themselves up out of that right now and, kind of pick up where they left off?
Yeah. It's so hard. You know, so I guess the two things, and I hate when people like, I see this a lot too as one piece of advice, but it is true, is like, it's only temporary. But I see that a lot and I'm just like, that doesn't really, I mean, I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
It's true. It's a truth, right? So like, I think keeping it in the back of your mind is a truth, but sometimes I'm just like, yeah, duh. Like, I mean, everything is temporary, right?
Totally.
But I think, I mean, the only way out is through.
Yeah.
That also sucks. All of this is not the best advice because it's just
Yeah.
hard. I think
Yeah.
also surrounding yourself with a really
Mm.
good community, a good
Community.
village, someone that you like. It's tough. It's tough. Like I have so many friends in the industry and I'm so grateful. But like having that like maybe one person that you
Yeah.
like trust, like your go-to, you trust them no
Just
matter what.
unfiltered, like
Exactly.
I can go
Unfiltered.
to you
Yes.
and
Yes.
just let
And
it
like
all out.
yes,
Yeah.
another founder, a mentor. So my mentor is Dave Herkshop from Dave's Gourmet. So I love him.
Very
Shout out
cool.
Dave. So many shout outs on this
So many
podcast.
shout outs.
So he's my mentor from the Accelerator and the Impact Fund that we raised from. And
Yes.
he's amazing. And it's like a very unfiltered conversation. There's
Yeah.
no, I think, love our investors, amazing, but everyone's got an input usually. So it's
Yeah.
like when you find like your founder friend that you can go to no matter what, and then you have your mentor and like group of advisors, definitely start working on building that. That helps from a professional standpoint. I think having people that have gone through something similar. So if there are founders that are listening that are dealing with, taking care of a parent, taking care of a grandparent, aunt, sibling, while taking care of children or thinking of starting a family, I am here, right? Like that is like a lot of the founders I am very close with, they get this, that there is, you know, so much going on personally. And sometimes you just need someone to just like word vomit, if that makes sense. Like
A
there's
hundred
just someone that
percent.
you just
Yeah.
need to like throw it out there into the world. I am here as, a listening ear because it's when you're dealing with things in your business and then things personally, it's so hard to just sometimes take a breath and be, put things into perspective. So listening ear, find your village, even if it's a small village. Like you don't need like a million friends.
Right.
You just need the people that you really trust to
100%.
brainstorm with and really
Yes.
that pushes you to grow more.
Yes. Amazing. Love that. Like and also so true in life, right? Too, as well when you're going through that. But I think even more so rings true as a founder because I think just like the mental capacity for founders is just
Yes.
on a different level.
Yes.
And
Making
so
that
yeah.
decision making easier. That was one thing that just came to my mind. I tell
Yeah.
my husband this all the time because he's like, "What do you want for dinner?" And I'm like, "I don't care. I make at least 1,000 decisions a day. I don't care. Whatever sounds good to you, that
Yeah.
sounds great, honey."
I
That's
love that.
just making the decision simpler, like
Yeah.
whatever that looks like. If it's like, okay, I'm going to lay out my clothes the day before, like I'm going to map out my week, I'm going to time
That's
block.
great. Yeah.
Whatever you can do to make those decisions simpler, that's what you got to do.
Totally. I mean, I know some people who are just going to ChatGPT now, just like, just tell me where to go, honestly. I don't want to think about it,
That's
you
a
know?
good one. That's a good
Yeah.
one. I haven't tried that yet. Like,
Yeah.
tell me what to wear, ChatGPT.
Right. Yeah. What should I wear? Like, here's a picture of my closet. What do I wear today?
That's
Um,
genius. I'm going to try it.
you know? I'm sure it'll help. But anyway, I wanted to wrap this up here by giving you the opportunity to tell everyone where they can find BTR, where they can find you and follow you. Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. So we are at btr.nation on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. So all of the meta world, www.btrnation.com. We're on Amazon, we're on Thrive Market, and then we have our store locator on our website. So we're in Whole Foods locations in California, Arizona, Nevada, Hawaii. We are in Giant Foods. We're launching, I guess, well, all right, we have a launch coming in June. We've got 2 launches coming in June. I don't know when this is airing, so I can't exactly share where yet.
Yes.
But we're really like building out our amazing retail strategy by launching into like beloved regional grocers where everyone
Love it.
shops. So I'm excited
Yes.
for that. So 2 coming in June, and Central Market, Air One, so many places, and
Yes.
airports nationwide. So if you're traveling,
Yes.
you most likely will be seeing BTR Nation somewhere in an airport if you're in a
I
major
see
airport.
you
So
guys all the time when I'm traveling. And
love it. We're in
please,
O'Hare.
yeah, exactly. You're in Foxtrot, you're in O'Hare. Everyone, please, before you hop onto your flight, go pick up some BTR. It'll keep you
It
satiated.
will. It
You know,
will.
it'll help with all this flying stress that you have,
Yes.
honestly.
Yes. I
So,
fly all the time and I still have stress. Oh, and I have one last tip.
yes,
Is
please.
this has been really good for mental health as well too, is
Yes.
I've started reading for fun. I listen to
Yes.
podcasts and I always have
Yeah,
them on, and I have my cool like hype up playlist, but I've actually
right.
just been reading like rom-com books for
I
fun on
love
very short
that.
flights, long flights. You
Yeah.
have to work. You
Yeah,
cannot
yeah,
lose
yeah.
an hour, but like on a 45-minute flight, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like Wi-Fi.
Right.
Like by the time I turn it on and get it working, so I've been reading and I've been able to finish 2 books this year so far, just from all of my
Amazing.
like I've
Yeah.
taken 20 flights already this year. So
Yeah. Wow.
that's a good tip if you have like even 10 minutes to just like really it like opens your
Unplug
like
from like
heavy,
the
yes,
day to day and just do
yes.
something
It
you
just like
enjoy.
opens your
Yeah.
mind for to like new things, and you're like, oh, like it's given us an idea for a really cool campaign, like things that are different
So
that other
cool.
people aren't doing. It's going to be out there in the rest of the world, not what you're already seeing.
Yeah.
So if that makes sense, like
No,
other
that's so
industries, like
true.
looking at
Yeah.
other industries for inspo, like beauty and supplements, and those industries, they have agencies that are super, super expensive coming in and building those campaigns for
Yeah.
them. So looking towards those other industries can be really good sources of inspo.
No,
But I'll leave it
absolutely.
there.
No, yeah, and like I just to piggyback on what you said, I think giving yourself a moment to not be doing what you're doing on a day-to-day basis is what gives you that creative
Yes.
energy, right? It's kind of
Yes.
like, when you're just in the shower and you're like, "Holy shit, I just had a great idea."
Exactly. That's
And
it.
it's because
Yeah.
you're not, well, maybe it depends what, sometimes you always have like your mind's always going,
It's
but it's like
always
that's the
racing.
one time you're like, "Ah, like I can just chill,"
Yes.
and then that's when those
Exactly.
that steam, something about that steam and
Yes.
you know
It's like showering, listening
Yeah.
to music, going for a
Yes.
walk, all those things, all and the ideas just come. And that idea can be like the multi-million dollar idea that changes things. So it's like
Yeah.
freeing your mind up to get those ideas is important. It's not necessarily like, oh, I'm taking a break over here. It's like just
Yeah.
freeing your mind up to listen to what's actually going to move the needle forward. So
Amazing. Yeah. I love that. Well, let's end it there. Thank you so much, Ashley. I don't want to
thank
take up
you.
so much
This was
more
so
like,
fun.
but this was so fun.
It
And I
was.
feel like I hope that it resonates with folks.
Me too.
And just doing something a little different here at Settle. But thank you
I love
again
it.
so much for being here.
Thank you.